10,000 subscribers. I know that I'm absolutely nowhere close to being the most subscribed person on YouTube, but 10,000 is an incredibly big number. I feel like sometimes it's pretty easy to lose sight of individual people behind big numbers, but behind that number is 10,000 different people, all with incredibly different opinions, backgrounds, media tastes, etc., who all thought at some point, yeah, I want to watch another one of this person's videos. And that is absolutely surreal to me. What's even more crazy to me is that during the making of this video, the channel passed 11k, which is just absolutely crazy. I don't know what to say. Thank you all so much for so much support in the past few weeks. Anyways, I figured in celebration of reaching this milestone, I would do a special video because I rarely do videos like these. Generally speaking, I don't really do subscriber specials. There's not really a particular reason for it, it's just something that's never really interested me too much, but 10k I feel is different. It's a number that for a while I honestly felt I'd never reach on this channel, so for that alone, I feel like it's momentous enough to make a video on. So I figured now was a better opportunity than any to do some community interactions, because it's been a while. So, with all that said, it's Q&A time. Our first question comes in from Toasted Sandwich, who asks, if you could choose one piece of canon, non-animated Ninjago media that could be made into a season instead, which one would it be? And for me, it's probably going to be the Garmadon comic. I really love what they did with Garmadon's character in that story, and while I wasn't too big on it at first, the series has grown on me a lot in the past few months. So yeah, if there's any piece of Ninjago media I'd love to see get animated, it would probably be that one. But if we can choose non-canon pieces of media, I'd probably choose to get a canon version of Shadow of Ronin. I really love the concept of that game, but it's just too wacky to really consider canon, so I'd really love to see a TV redo of it, which is more grounded. Our next question comes in from Ghost Gaming, who asks, which season do you think is the best voice acting? And for me, it's probably going to have to be Crystallized. I think this season had bad writing amongst a whole host of other issues, as you all know, but the voice acting in this season was exceptionally good. I think despite the awful material, the actors did a really good job of it and got a ton of mileage out of it. A particular standout is Lloyd's voice acting in the Oni transformation scene from episode 14, and then Lloyd freaking out at Harumi in episode 16 when she says the monastery's been burnt down. I have my issues with season 15, as you all know, but the voice performances in it were pretty spectacular. Our next question comes in from my good friend Daily Rolord, who asks, what are your plans and dreams for this channel in the long term? In an absolutely ideal world, my long-term dream for YouTube is to be able to make a living off of it. The idea that I'd be able to sustain myself by talking about one of my favorite childhood shows is honestly really appealing to me. And so, while it's a long shot, that is my absolute dream for YouTube. In the short term though, my goal is to kind of just build a community, talk about stuff I like, and all around have a good time. By the way, if you want to be more of a part of that community, feel free to click the Discord link in the description. There's an Ninjago channel on there, and we play video games on there quite a bit. So if that interests you, don't be afraid to join. I know that derailed into a self-plug a bit, but my short-term goals are building out a community, and my long-term goal is to make a living. Although the long-term goal is more of a pipe dream than anything, very few people have been able to make a living off of making Ninjago videos, but if I'm one of them, I'd be pretty happy with that. Our next question comes in from Margarita, who asks two questions. One, when and how did you find Ninjago and start watching the show? Okay, so for this one, I started watching Ninjago on season 1 when it first aired in the UK. For whatever reason, LEGO decided that they would not start airing Ninjago in the UK until 2014. I think it was somewhere around October, September, November, because I know the new year of school started happening by then. And I remember my sister hurried me out of my room and off of Terraria for the Xbox 360 down to watch this new LEGO show. I wasn't really too interested in it, but pretty much the second after I finished that first episode, I was hooked. And here I am 8 years later, still talking about it. My sister has long since moved on to other properties and franchises, but as you can probably guess by looking at my channel, Ninjago has always been a pretty big interest for me. And the second question is, what inspired you to originally start making videos? I started making videos around 2020 when season 11 was still a pretty hated season. I felt like the way I feel about Ninjago in general was pretty underrepresented on the YouTube side of the community, so I thought, you know what, why not throw my hat into the ring? Made some videos in defense of season 11, and things kind of just kept going on from there. I'm glad I did make that choice though, because in the past few years, I've been having a lot of fun with YouTube. Our next question comes in from Ackle Bricks, who asks, if you could only own one Ninjago set ever, which would it be? For me, it'd probably have to be the Destiny's Bounty from the LEGO Ninjago movie. This is my favorite Ninjago set of all time and has so much going for it. I think the details of the interior of the build are wonderful, and the exterior is so good. I think for the price, which was £120 at retail, you got so much value for your money here with all 6 of the Movie Ninja and Master Wu. Also, it appears in my 3 favorite Ninjago seasons of all time, the Oni Trilogy with season 8 to 10. It's a set I have so many great memories with, and it's also just an incredible build with great minifigures. So I'm gonna have to go with that. Our next question comes in from the real Luke Skywalker himself, who asks, what are your top 3 favourite Ninjago characters? And the answer to this, as lazy as it might be, is Garmadon, Harumi, and Lloyd. I think these 3 characters are remarkably well written, especially in the Oni trilogy, and I love their arcs from seasons 1 to 14 so much. So yeah, it's gonna have to be those 3 for me. Our next question is coming in from Radish Boy, who asks, if Ninjago didn't exist, what would be your favourite show? Now, this may come as a shock to you guys, but Ninjago isn't actually my favourite show. I think it's probably the show I like most out of any, and it's the one I could talk about for the longest, but in terms of quality, my favourite show is Breaking Bad. I think this show is wonderful, and there is literally not a single bad episode of it. The show gets better and better as it goes on, ending on what probably is its peak. The characters are all so well written and have such great arcs throughout the series, and man, I just love Breaking Bad so much, okay? I also think BoJack Horseman is an absolute masterpiece. The next comment we have here comes in from Alex C, who says, congratulations on 10k, man. Question. Could you do more tier lists like the one you did for the seasons? And also, do you like or have watched Monkey Kid? As for the first question, I should do more tier lists at some point. I'm thinking of redoing the villain tier list I did a while back because it's kind of outdated now. And also I want to do a tier list ranking every Ninjago character. As for Monkey Kid, I haven't watched it. I've watched a few episodes of the first season and thought they were pretty mixed, but I hear it gets a lot better later on, so at some point I do want to sit down and watch the full show. But no, at the minute I haven't watched it. That being said, the animation looks amazing. Our next question comes in from Miraculous Ninja, who asks, what's your favourite life lesson in each season of Ninjago? So I'm gonna limit this to specifically one season, because if I were to list every single one, we'd be here for a pretty long while. But my favourite is probably what Mustaki tells Lloyd in episode 86. As for which lesson I'm talking about, I'm just going to read out the quote from Mustaki word for word. Wisdom comes from many places, but comes in spades with mistakes. We make them, and if fortunate, we learn from them. That's all that wisdom is, being wise enough not to make the same mistakes twice. I think this is a beautiful quote, even separated from the context, but within the context of Lloyd's character arc, him being told this right after he messed things up with Harumi is one of the most impactful moments of the entire Ninjago show for me. It reflects on everything that happened in Season 8 so well, whilst giving Lloyd a long-term lesson to learn from it, and is even on its own just a beautifully written quote. So yeah, if there was one life lesson from Ninjago which really truly stood out to me, it's gonna have to be that one. Our next question comes in from Super Dajim. I hope I'm pronouncing that name right. I don't really know how to, so I hope I didn't butcher it. Who says, hey Krusty, congratulations on 10k, but right now you're 11k, so here's my question. 1. Are you working on a tour run setup? 2. Compare the return of Zane in Season 4 to Nia in Season 15. Which one was better and why? 3. Who is a better couple, Kai and Skylar or Nia and Jay? And 4. If you could only watch one Ninjago season for the rest of your life, which one would it be? Since this comment has 4 questions, I'm going to lightning round it, so here we go. As for the first question, I'm probably not going to do a setup tour because it's really not that notable. My setup is literally just a desk with a computer monitor on it, along with a mic and keyboard and stuff. I have no fancy LED light setup, although I'd really like to do that at some point. It's kind of just very basic and minimalist. As for the second question, the return in Zane in Season 4 is infinitely better than the return of Nia in Season 15, because Season 4 actually offers Zane a good character arc in place of his absence. Whereas, while The Call of Home is an excellent episode, after that, all they really do with Nia is either absolutely nothing or actively ruin her character. As for the third question, I think Nia and Jay is a better ship because it's been more fleshed out. Kai and Skylar just feels they're dating for the sake of having 2 characters dating, whilst Jay and Nia feels like a very natural relationship that gives you reason to care about it. As for the final question, if I could only watch one Ninjago season for the rest of my life, it would probably be Hunted. Sons of Garmadon is my personal favourite, but I feel like I'll just get more rewatch value out of Hunted. And the final question we have today, the one that perfectly encapsulates this channel's 3-year-long journey, all of the content we've made, the community we've formed. Do you like the word moist? As a 13-year-old, I was absolutely shocked to find out that there are people who just viciously hate this word for some reason. I remember my year 9 to 11 English teacher, for whatever reason, absolutely loathed this word, to the point where he'd like physically cringe whenever someone would say it. I don't know why he would do this, but apparently people viciously hate this word for some reason. I never thought I would see the day where I got an excuse to talk about my 2019 English teacher's hatred of the word moist on this channel, but here we are. Personally, I don't mind it. I'm very indifferent on the word moist. It can be used to describe some pretty gross things, but like, I don't know, I'm neutral on it. That's all the questions we have today. Thank you so much to everyone who submitted questions, and I'm sorry if I didn't get to yours. There was a ton of questions on here, and if I were to get to all of them, we would have had upwards of like a 30-minute long video, which would have been fine, but I wanted to get the 10k special out as soon as possible because it's already a bit late. Although, what this might leave room for is the return of the Q&As. Over the years, I've been trying to make Q&As a staple of the channel, but for whatever reason, literally just down to lack of commitment from me, it's never really stuck. So I would like to try and do these videos a little more often. So if you want to, feel free to leave some questions in the comments of this video, and if I do make another Q&A, I'll be sure to get to them. I know I already said this at the start of the video, but genuinely thank you all so much for 10, now 11k. It means so much to me that so many of you are interested in watching my dumb LEGO videos on the internet, and because of that, I'm more motivated than ever to be making more of them. Thank you all so much for all your support over these past 2.5 years. And with that, I will see you in the next video. Goodbye for now.